Hey, what's going on? My name's Sam Price, the Crypto Lifer, and every single Friday, I do a macro technical analysis video where I break down Bitcoin, the S&P, the NASDAQ, the dollar. We look at Bitcoin dominance. We look at the cryptocurrency industry as a whole. We look at the altcoins. We also look at gold and silver. It's actually a blast. I have been on a hiatus the last few weeks from traveling. We're back here on this beautiful Friday. Let's jump on in. Let's break it down. Right now, I am watching the 1 minute, but that's not what we're here for. We're actually here not to do this. We're here to look at the macro so we don't get caught up in the smaller time frames, right? That needs to break that 200, and there's a chance we have some fireworks. Anyway, let's break it down. Let's talk about the bigger picture for Bitcoin, what has and has not, what has and has not happened, what we would like to see for the bulls, what we don't want to see, and more. So the first thing we want to talk about is the monthly chart and how the monthly closed the tweezer bottom, which was an indication of a move to the upside. We got a huge candle up, and then this candle kind of took it to the upside. And look, we had three white soldiers going. It was very early in the month, though, which I was like, I would have liked us to dump a little bit first. It was very early in the month. But now, so far, so good. The thing is, this candle was bigger, and now it's come back down. If this goes down and closes red, which will be in 9 days and 8 hours, that's a bearish close to me. And then we have to start thinking that there's some type of head and shoulder pattern beginning to brew. And Bitcoin's in a slanted head and shoulder with a neckline. And if that's the case, Bitcoin could take another tumble down. Creepily enough, that is a $16,000, $17,000 Bitcoin. Now, is that going to happen for sure? We have a lot of support at the previous high of the last cycle there at 62,000 that you believe would hold. But we did lose 69K, which was, somewhat alarming to some people as it was a high of the last cycle. So right off the bat, that is a warning sign for the bulls. Another, one thing I want to talk about that's bullish is every time we break these trend lines, we tend to have a bigger move. It's very rare for the monthly to fake out, right? It faked out right here, but that was a right shoulder. Could we be doing that similar area though? So it's kind of, a little sketchy business there. So the monthly is showing signs of bullishness, but to me, it's really important that we get a bullish close here on the monthly. So that's the first thing we talk about. The 2-week chart showing bearish engulfing candle, right? That candle can close and you'll put this whole candle inside. That's a bit bearish for me, and that starts to look like a bear flag. And you got to start thinking you're headed somewhere down to that $52,000 region. A lot of people want this 54K Bitcoin. They keep screaming for it. It seems to be a number we're hearing a lot. Will we get 54,000? To me, I flip back to the weekly on this one, and I say, well, as long as the weekly can stay above 73,000, I remain bullish. As long as the weekly can hang above the 21-week moving average right there. See this white line? Every time we get above it, big pump there, big pump there, big pump there. The last 3 times, even that little bump there, but the last 3 times we got above it, even here. Big pump, basically, except right there, a little bit of a breach and nothing. Could that be what we're doing right here? Just a little bit of a breach. And that's the beginning of a massive dump side. So this flag looks a lot like this flag here. This could be the first flag, which was this, even though this one's bigger. This is the second one. This is the bigger drop for, I do pull a Fibonacci here too as well. If you take the whole entire thing, Bitcoin tends to come back down to the 786, which would be about $38,000, $39,000 Bitcoin, which could be a beautiful place to accumulate. It would hit it on a wick, probably come up pretty fast, I've been using this area here because we did impulse from there, and I feel like we did hit the 786 at 65,000. So the whole question is, did we bottom, or is there more downside coming? And they're right at this precipice. Whether we close above this and stay above it, we've actually made it out, and we're consolidate to the next level. We close below here, start to fall down, and this bear flag takes us lower, and we have way more pain to go. So we're at the whole market's at a standstill right now. Everyone's like, you know what I mean? You got tons of people opening up massive shorts. You have people speculating on longs, but I feel like more people are short than long. And that also usually creates some movements, some short squeezes, right? The daily, you can see clearly broke out. Seems like it's making a shoulder, bit of a head and a right shoulder. Today, it's going to close bearish as well. Your Hail Mary for the daily is somehow, some way you're going to bounce. But we've been looking at for this here, and there, and it really hasn't happened just yet. In my mind, it's a shoulder head, more of a right shoulder, more of kind of a descending triangle here. And it started to show signs that the daily wants to send down here to about 70,000. So I feel like it's definitely more bearish than bullish right now on the macro. We got to have some, that monthly candle needs to close bullishly. It needs to stay green. And then I say get more of that wick back. We'll give you that visual right now again, but more of this has to come up on the monthly for my liking. And Bitcoin has to stay above this key level here, 73,000. If it loses 73K, I mean, your one idea is maybe you're doing a giant double bottom, which is possible, like an even bigger one like this, and we come back down, and the 60K still stays as the bottom. It's almost like we do want the 2-week on the weekly. We might have to come to the 2-week on the weekly, but at that point, it might be 65,000. So we could see 65,000 one more time. It's looking a little more bearish. You're looking for the 5-day to close above the 200 moving average. You're looking for the daily to basically get a bit of a bounce here. And let me take away the moving averages and make this last thing you see about Bitcoin nice and clean and easy. But you're looking for the daily to get a nice bounce, which to me is kind of over. Like, we had the chance. Today it's almost important that somehow we eat this wick back and the daily closes green. This red close tells me we're more likely doing one of these. And that has descending triangle vibes for me. And that means that we're likely going to drop. And that drops pretty fast to that POC at 70,000. So I'm definitely more bearish than bullish for Bitcoin. It's got to get back above 78.6 to remain bullish. That's the resistance there. Right now, it looks like it's going to make a lower high and a lower low for BTC. I could be wrong, but the macro doesn't look amazing. You look at the total market cap in all of cryptocurrency. That's all of the altcoins with Bitcoin, and it's kind of the same story. Your idea is that maybe you're going to hold this trend and bounce back in. It's the same idea, but I feel like you lost the trend line. Now you're bearishly retesting. And you're technically kind of making a bear flag on the daily time frame. Slap those moving averages back. And the rejection near that 200 moving average, same thing. And maybe it's a bigger double bottom and we consolidate down here. But, you're really right here. You got to hold this as support and get a bounce. Otherwise, we'll make a bear flag and go lower, and that's going to follow Bitcoin. We've seen some movement in Hyperliquid and some other coins. Let's look at Total 3, the entire market cap of all the altcoins. So let's take a look at the monthly and kind of zoom in. So what I looked at on the monthly for this is, we're in this beautiful uptrend, right? And you clearly see that was resistance. It's kind of, it's a known, what we call spider lines, long diagonal trend lines that have been right for years, have been used. We could bounce off this and turn this into some type of consolidation, right? You see like something like that, get tight, then possibly break out. Seems like it would take some time, but this could be a possible bottom on the monthly for these altcoins. Seeing some good movement in Hyperliquid, AI coins, but at the same time, we got AI and we've got a lot of money flowing into, data centers, AI, all that speculation, and honestly, a lot of money pouring into the regular stock market. It's the same story really for the altcoins that it is for Bitcoin, Honestly, I feel like the altcoins have broken this trend line, to be honest, on the weekly. Hitting the 21 above the 200, somewhat bullish. Let's look at your daily time frame. You're just stuck in these ranges. The only good thing is like you're a little more lateral than Bitcoin. Bitcoin's a little more in a vertical range, but it's the same story, right? If Bitcoin collapses, the alts we need some sideways price action. We need to consolidate here above key levels. Really, by the end of June, mid-June, we're going to know whether we've taken this right shoulder and started to dump or we start getting tighter. Watch for consolidation in June for the altcoins. If we get that, then yes, we may get a little bit of a summer rally there, back up to 885 billion. But I wouldn't keep my breath. I wouldn't hold my breath for that. Look at Bitcoin dominance, and I see a lot of people screaming for alt season based on Bitcoin dominance. It's making this right shoulder. It's going to collapse. Don't you realize all the last time this happened? So let's take a look at what I read a little bit here, what I've been seeing. Yeah, some people say you got a shoulder here ahead. You got a right shoulder. This is the end of Bitcoin dominance. But I'll tell you what, it's more of the end. When Bitcoin doesn't go on a massive rally and it pulls back, the dominance is eventually it pulls back. The dominance pumps when the initial Bitcoin dump happens because people will rush out of altcoins into Bitcoin. But for the most part, it eventually will find its way. And eventually, this is a symmetrical triangle. These mainly break down, in my humble opinion, and it does have a lower high there. If Bitcoin takes a beat down and does make that move further down to 50K, Bitcoin dominance is also going to go down, period. And that's not going to mean altcoins are going to rip. You mean altcoins are going to get sold off, Bitcoin's going to get sold off, and Bitcoin dominance is also going to fall. If Bitcoin can hold its key level, get a bounce, and then we slowly lose Bitcoin dominance, I don't see that happening. If Bitcoin gets a big move, I feel like this will come and bounce. This will come and bounce, and we'll get a big move in Bitcoin dominance. So I don't know. I wouldn't be so sure that we're going to get this massive alt season, really, just because Bitcoin dominance is so overbought on the stochastics RSI. I think we have a ways to go here. And the story is more about Bitcoin than Bitcoin dominance right now. Bitcoin dominance follows Bitcoin. You see Bitcoin pump hard, we're going to get a nice move in Bitcoin dominance. Then we can look for weakness in Bitcoin dominance and look for that transition into altcoins. With what I just said, we should see some bullishness in the Tether dominance. It should look like it's in some type of flag. Something's brewing. I'm just, you know what I mean? Because I'm seeing some type, and look, it kind of looks like the weekly could be setting up for a breakout. You're having a golden cross possibly coming. You're curving up here. We've had a nice rally for a month and a half now for Bitcoin, and it looks like people may tether up here in a pullback. So, and then maybe a double top when we go lower. But right now, that looks somewhat bullish. 3-day chart also looks, like it could be breaking out of a falling wedge over time, or definitely doesn't look too bad. Previous support as resistance right there, a bounce. So Tether dominance tells us it's a little flag here that could pull back. But for the most part, you're looking at chop, just kind of like Bitcoin right now, but then boom. So be careful, man. Tether dominance seems to be setting up, and it could be shoulder, head, right shoulder. Dang, that's something that's actually telling us that we could see a major pullback for Bitcoin. If Tether dominance keeps looking like it's going to make this bullish move, kind of an Adam and Eve. You see, there's the Adam, there's an Eve there. With that being said, I like to look at the dollar, the DXY, and see what the DXY has been doing. I see the dollar headed sideways for a while here while stocks consolidate. A little bit of a move up, stocks pull back, we consolidate, get tight, and then it's done us in October again, man. The dollar loses more value. We start to get the bigger drop into December. And look at that. I mean, since October, November, December, and we could, and so it is predicting somewhat of a stock market rally later on, like we always have. But it looks like sideways chop throughout the summer. Then the dollar index starts to lose that value somewhere in mid-October, which is interesting. Let's take a look at gold, which was struggling. It actually had a pretty nasty pullback just the other day with silver. Let's take a look at what's happening there with gold. So the last time I looked at gold, I was looking at actually for it to consolidate a little higher, more like this, right? And possibly go on a more of a run. Let's take a look at it now on the bigger picture. I almost feel like it's in this bigger channel. I've been watching this type of price action where it loses it, comes back in. I've been studying this for a long time. It's very against a lot of other people have showed and taught me, but it's interesting how like you see this lower high for gold, possibly a descending triangle, very overbought. I feel like gold got a little bit extended, and it almost tells me, man, you could see that transition from gold to Bitcoin. I don't know. I'm not too bullish on gold. The bigger time frame suggests that gold will go in a descender and possibly pull back to 3,500. I think that's going to be its good mean value. I could be completely wrong here, but it doesn't look amazing. Even the 4-day chart looks bearish. The stochastics are okay right now, possibly for some sideways price action, so you'd bring this up. But I do see chop. I see chop for gold throughout the summer, at least through June into July. And when that dollar drops, eventually we might get a bottoming out. But I just see some chop. We take a look at silver. Same thing for silver. A possible bounce here and then up and down. But I really just see it staying in. Silver looks a little more bullish than gold, though. A little more lateral, a little more sideways. But the same thing. I see it chopping out. And it does say somewhere by the end of June, something brews here. They get too tight. We're going to see a decision in silver and gold. Which ain't bad. And let's talk about that S&P, man. Bunch of traders out there saying the worst day ever. We basically almost had a new all-time high yet again. The last time I looked at it 2 days ago, I said, this is a bull pennant. I said, this looks bullish. I said, looks like the S&P is going to either break out or, something like this, extend this. I see some sideways price action here, and then it looks like we're going to be breaking out. So watch your S&P. Tuesday, it looks like somewhere on Tuesday, we're going to get very tight. And then bang, on the 26th there. And it's funny, that's right after Memorial Day weekend. S&P looking bullish to me. Looks like new all-time highs coming. Same with the NASDAQ. Very bullish today, too, with Trump out there, with Kevin Warsh coming in. And I see this possibly pulling back to the bottom trend line, like nice little pullback here. One of these, pullback, up and down tightness. But I see tightness, and then it says, somewhere into Tuesday, Wednesday, we're going to have to make a decision. And it looked like next week we see fireworks for the NASDAQ and the S&P. That's my prediction. By the next week when we do this, we'll be somewhere up in here. Friday, it'll be right here, Friday the 26th, the 29th of May. I wouldn't be surprised if we're somewhere here in the 30,000s at a new all-time high for the NASDAQ and the S&P. So that is your top-down analysis, everybody. I hope you had a good time watching it. If you like this type of TA, using moving averages, support and resistance, stochastics, RSI, and more, jump on in and watch my live stream every single day, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., Monday through Friday, and Saturday and Sunday nights at 8 p.m. I also do a small impromptu live stream on Saturday and Sunday morning, somewhere between 7 and 9 in the morning, depending. And that is 9 live streams a week, including extra ones for the monthly candle close. We hit the weekly candle close every Sunday night too as well. So I can't wait to see you there. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. You can find out when I post my next video. Remember, if you came to the channel, then you're already doing the right thing. Crypto is life.